Okay, so here we go. I got the building. I've got some details. I've got the flooring done. What I did was I painted it a light cream color, concrete color, and then obviously I scribed it first with the X-Acto knife, and then I put a very thin wash of India ink with mixed with isopropyl alcohol, 90%, and that brings out the cracks in the concrete and makes it look a little more realistic. So I got some chairs on there. I got a table together. It's gluing, and I went ahead and took care of the chunk of concrete that's going to be used for the fueling and the sanding area. I've got some bars on there now. I'm gonna add little rubber hoses to them and all kinds of neat stuff. You can see I did the same thing with the coloring and the cracks in the concrete. So it starts out light gray like this, and as you can see, it's easily pliable. It cuts very easy with the X-Acto knife, sometimes too easy, because you can see it went all the way through, but nevertheless it's together and painted. And for my sanding tower, I like the tapered tip on this old crazy glue bottle, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to strip off the paper and cut off the bottom. We'll come back, you'll see that. Alright, so I went ahead and cut the cap off, the top. You can see it's got a hollow hole in it. I drilled a hole into the bottom with my X-Acto knife with a number 11 blade, and I was able to run a plastic tube up into it and glue it. Now the plastic tube came from a screw piece. It was actually not meant to be used as anything. It was actually just meant to be thrown away. These sprue pieces have little round nubs on them that can be used as propane tanks, oxygen tanks, acetylene tanks, gas tanks, air tanks for air compressors, and these long straight pieces are pretty small. Some of them are really big. They can actually be used, and in this case this one has been used. Now what I've done is I spin it around, and I see that the cylinder is pretty darn straight. I've already flattened the bottom, so I know that when I put it platform here, that it will stand straight. Now you can see I have a little platform set up next to the track. The platform has actually already been painted and weathered. I also have a Rick's Products telephone pole. This will also go on there. When I'm all done and everything's all done and said, I will add wires on my telephone poles. I always said I was going to on my big modern layout and never did. But I really do want to add them on this little layout. I have a bunch of these windows. These windows were left over from the hardwood furniture company by Walthers. When I kit bashed, I didn't need all of them, but if you look at them carefully, you'll notice you can see ladders in there. That's where I'm going to steal my ladders from for the tall ladder that goes from the bottom of the mast up to the top. It's usually for maintenance purposes, but I need a long ladder, and this is the longest one I have right now, and it's not even close. So I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut this up. The reason why I'm taking off the side is because I can go on this side and take a ladder out, and then this side and take a ladder out, and make it twice as long. So I can have 2 long ladders and 1 very long ladder when I combine the 2. Now I'm going to do this on both sides. I'm not going to show the process on both of them because, well, it would just be long and boring for you guys to have to go through. So I'm going to cut this one off, let you see what I'm talking about. Hopefully you get the idea of what I'm going to do with it. Okay, so there's 1 long ladder right there. Now I'm going to do that on the other side and then combine them end to end and make a tall ladder to go up to the top of the sanding tower. If I need to, here's another window, and I have like 40 more of these, not just from the Hardwood Furniture Company, but yeah, a lot of them. Okay, now here's a sprue that had these little angled pieces on it. These angled little brackets were made to hold up a roof overhang on a Walthers kit, and they were too fat. They were just too fat. They're supposed to be like iron bars, but to the hand of a HO scale figure, they were about as big around as a cinder block. And you know, a human hand, I have a big hand, but still, a human hand should not be smaller than a metal rod. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm asking you a question. It should be able to grip the steel, you know, to be able to grip around it. But when I put the appraiser figures, well, I'll show you, hand up to the steel rod, it was way too big. So I used my brass wire, and I had these left over. These, however, will make perfect tubes. I glued this one together to make it super long. Tubes for the sand to come off the top of the, not the very top of the tower, but the bottom of the spool, and come out to the engine to deliver sand to the engine. So I'll start with these. These will be connected to the tower, and then at the end of these will be brass wire painted black and kind of curly a little bit like a black rubber hose, and I'll paint it black. And then that'll be the sand filler. So when we come back, I'll have both ladders out, see if they're long enough. If they're not, I'll take off another little section and add it to that, and we'll see how it starts to look coming together. Okay, so you may have remembered the green fuel stand. I thought it was way too big, even though it was for an HO kit. It just seemed like it was, I don't know, for an S scale maybe. It seemed way too big. So I decided to scrap that idea and build my own fuel stand with an under the ground tank. I have the long ladder glue in here, and I have another piece that I need to add to it because the homemade sanding tower I made is too tall. I mean, that's too tall for the old ladder. There's the whole sanding tower. It's actually pretty small and delicate. There's brass wires, little tiny pieces of tubing, styrene that I've drilled into the bottom of the crazy glue cap or bottle. And you see the tapered part is at the bottom where the pole goes in. The silver part on the mast is actually like a turnbuckle, which is supporting two pieces of mast to make it tall enough to fit over the locomotive. I don't know how well you can see that, but it fits nicely. Okay, so I have to finish letting this glue because it's not glued all the way, and it'll get a shiny coat of silver. I have a fuel hose, just a simple bended brass wire. You can see the top loop part is going to hook onto the fuel crane that I have here, like so, just like that. Okay, and then I have the little shed. Here's the really nasty concrete from the shed. This is color foam, of course, modified. There's the regular color of the color foam. And you can see just how nasty the concrete can get with two different colors in color foam. I made this concrete with two colors and a sheet of rubber, foam rubber. It's not 100 different colors, it's not all complicated, it's just two colors and a sheet of this color foam, or foamies, whatever you want to call them. I have hundreds of those because they're so cheap. So now let's see if I can zoom in on this little office. The nasty concrete. The door is going to be painted primer gray, and then I'm going to weather the heck out of it and make it look old. Anyway, there you go. That's the little shed, the fuel crane, the sanding tower. The ladder is drying. When it's done drying, I gotta glue on the second piece, and then glue it to the tower. Put on a couple little tiny details. You know, they may not be functionable, but they look good. This little tray. This tray is full of little tiny pieces of brass tubing. That's part of what I use for the fuel crane. I've used parts of it on the sanding tower. And I have little tiny pieces of brass tubing all over the place that can be used for all sorts of little detail parts and buckles and piping. That's going to make this look complete. Like I said, even if it doesn't have an actual function, there's a whole lot going on, there's a whole lot of detail in the little area, and it makes it look like it's functionable, and it makes it look like it's supposed to be there. Of course, after it's weathered. Okay, so when we come back, I'll have a little gas pump, which I just cut a piece of this little wood block off. It's like a 1/4 inch, I believe. Just a hair shy of a 1/4 inch block. And it's about 5 foot tall, scale wise. And I painted it bright red, and I rounded off the top to be like a 50s style gas pump. 50s or 60s, because 50s I believe had the golden globe on the top, or whatever they call it. Okay, so this video is probably getting pretty long, so I'm going to cut it short. There's a lot I'm going to cut out because I started rambling. So some of the build will be cut out. Don't worry about that. It's all pretty basic. It's a crazy glue cap, bunch of leftover plastic, brass wire. I mean, I don't think I have more than $2. I don't even have more than $2 into this kit, into the entire piece. This, the color foam, all the details. I bought a huge box of details for $5. Just took a couple of pieces out, and equivalent to fraction wise whatever the cost of the entire kit, or the entire box that I bought. I'd say a couple pennies for the fuel drums and the little stuff that I had. Leftover windows and ladders that I paid for, but they were just junk anyway, so it's kind of like a whole new different kit, so it's pretty much free. So yeah, junk laying around. Build a sanding tower, build a fuel crane. If you're hard up for money, like I am right now, buying a house is not a easy or cheap thing to do, and I've really had to learn the hard way. But it's fun, and I actually like scratch building out of a junk box. It's really fun and challenging. But there you go. When we come back, it'll be a sanding tower and fuel crane, and it'll look good. Okay, well, there's going to be a couple more details on there, but you can pretty much see that the gist of it is there. I'm going to paint some numbers on the front of the gas pump thingy. I even has some simulated spillage of gas, and a no smoking sign, and a little pump thing coming out. There you can see I have the stand with the ladder for the sanding machine. It's got the little hoses and pipes coming out. There's the back of the shed. It's pretty rough. I love it. I'll go around and show you the front of it. I can't get all the way in there because I got a bunch of stuff in the way, but there should be the sand and fuel facility for the little Milwaukee Road. It's just a small part of the layout, really, but it's a very detailed part. But like I said, lots more details. To make it a little more realistic, I'm going to make a road coming in from over there. It's just going to be a road that goes around the back of this building. It's not really a road, it's like a loading and unloading area, but there's going to be a really old rickety crossing going across there to this place, and my battery's dead, so there you go. Sand and fuel facility. Let me know what you think. See you guys.